nipples all messed up on and I'm half asleep. I don't think I feel right having with her.
That is a moral dilemma, Eugene.
Hey. Hello and welcome to Love It or Hate It, where we take a look at all the movies and all the TV shows, whether we love them or we hate them. And today we're going to be going over... And, well...
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
But, let's not get ahead of ourselves because there's a lot to talk about. Now, before we get into this movie, we're going to have to get into the movie that this is the sequel to. We don't really have a lot of time for this, so we're going to go over the plot of this really quickly. Waiting is about a character named Dean's last day working at a restaurant called Shenanigans. A restaurant that's filled with a bunch of wacky and kooky characters like Radimus.
Just treat me like a piece of meat.
Not just any piece of meat, baby. I'm rich.
And this lovely fellow named Nick.
Makes you think I will cut you.
And everybody's favorite...
How's my favorite miner doing today?
And we mostly see it through the eyes of a new hire named Mitch. In training, Mitch is Monty. Monty is a sexual deviant who has, let's just say questionable morals.
I am indeed a pervert.
Yeah, I think there's another word for that, bro. And this movie can basically be boiled down to a day in the life of a restaurant worker in your mid-20s. Dean gets offered assistant manager by his lame-ass boss. Monty's trying to figure out if he wants to commit a sex crime. Radimus is trying to get people to look at his nutsack. And poor Mitch is subject to some hostile work environment. Dean doesn't really know if he wants to take the assistant manager job because he doesn't want to waste his life at Shenanigans, which is valid. He tells his boss that he's gonna need some time to think about it. His boss says, yeah, you can get back to me next week. That is until Dean crashes the fuck out on a customer. And then his boss says, grrr, you have until the end of the day. And Dean's just like, yeah, alright, what the fuck ever, bro. Now, while all of this is going on, Dean is also thinking about a classmate from high school who just recently graduated college with a electrical engineering degree. And he's a little bit jealous because his mom seems to be a little bit more proud of that classmate instead of Dean.
Seems he just graduated with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering.
Wow. His parents must really be proud.
Little did Dean and his boss realize that there was a little stinky eavesdropper, and upon hearing the news, they are less than thrilled. And that is a perfect example of why you shouldn't be friends with your coworkers, because none of them want to see you succeed, and they all want to see you fail. So instead of encouraging him like friends would, they all talk about him behind his back. After colluding and gossiping for a little bit, they all get back to work, and Monty tries to have a heart-to-heart with Dean. And this poor fucking server, after hearing about all this all day and after hearing everybody's opinions on it, he's met face to face with the guy who just graduated college, Chet. And this absolute piece of shit has the audacity to tip Dean $70. Hell yeah, bro, I need that shit more than you do.
And you got any spare change?
Do you know how much a server makes? Do you know how much an electrical engineer makes? Fuck yeah, give me that $70, bro. You don't need that shit. And this is 2005, so like, this was like $1 million in today's money. So, after being smacked in the face by $70 and feeling just fed up in general, Dean walks into his boss's office and he does what we all want to really do deep down inside, and he just quits his job, thus creating the only nice full character arc in this entire movie, for the only truly likable character in this entire movie. Now there's other characters in this movie like Radimus, the aforementioned Monty who's trying to find the quickest way to get sent to jail, and you got Calvin who can't pee and can't talk to the opposite sex, and a bunch more characters that are just not really that interesting, and I can't even really remember their names. All in all, the movie's meh. It's okay, you know. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen. It's definitely got its funny moments, but it sends the wrong message and is pretty problematic in 2026 standards. And I truly believe that movies like this spawned an entire generation of 30-year-olds trying to get with high school girls. I give it a 5 out of 10. Alright, that's it. We're moving on. Still Waiting is a movie that should have never been. With majority of the original cast declining to return, except for this girl and Calvin, director Jeff Bayless probably should have seen the writing on the wall. And after watching this movie, I can 110% tell you that they wrote this movie thinking that they were going to get majority of the original cast back together. But Instead, they pressed on and made a movie that went direct to DVD. Thus, they gifted the world Still Waiting. And just from the first opening minutes, you can tell, oh yeah, this is gonna be a really fucking bad one. We meet our main character, Dennis. Dennis is a very down on his luck manager at Shenanigans, and he really wants to get a promotion so that he can get a bunch of hot babes. This movie was written by a 16-year-old, I swear to God. After listening to a conversation between him and his mom, that is definitely
You don't really have a beautiful pregnant wife. You don't even have a bastard child with an ugly woman out of wedlock.
we cut to the parking lot where we meet some more of the characters. Like Agnew, a sexual deviant who has questionable morals.
You'll be working at Stripperpolis in a year.
He's starting to sound like somebody I know. And his girlfriend, who I don't even really know her name, and I refuse to learn it by watching this movie a third time. She's a brand new hire for a restaurant that recently opened up right next door to Shenanigans called Tata's. And like, you can tell that this is obviously supposed to be Hooters, and I'm willing to bet real life money that they asked Hooters if they wanted to be a part of this, and they said no. Which means that your movie is so bad and so egregious that Hooters doesn't even want their likeness a part of this. That's saying something. But back to the parking lot, we meet Amber and this guy. Is everybody in this movie a fucking degenerate? They walk into Shenanigans, and Joshua's telling Amber about a nightmare he keeps on having.
Are you kidding me?
I want the salad bar.
What's with the goat? Soon after, we cut to the manager's office with Dennis and that lame-ass boss from the first movie. And they're talking about their numbers and quarterly reviews and whatnot. And lame-ass boss is telling Dennis how he's still 9,000 short for the quarter. And that's gonna inevitably end up costing Dennis his promotion. So Dennis says,
You just gotta help me get this promotion.
and lame-ass boss says, if you can't do it by the end of the day, I might as well give it to the guy next door. Who happens to be... Hey, you remember this guy? Yeah, the guy who couldn't fucking pee? Yeah, well, he's a fucking douchebag now. Tata's is apparently running some strict competition because they're taking away all of Shenanigans' customers. Meanwhile, we have this lovely conversation between Agnew and Hank, the bartender.
You fucked that lady last night? You know, the one with the freckles on her chest? I bet you did, huh? Did you fish hook her?
Who the hell does he remind me of? Dennis decides that he's gonna have a team meeting to, you know, rally the troops by telling his staff that the restaurant is gonna close down unless they make $9,000 today. And these people are just dumb enough to fucking believe him. So they get to work with an early bird special, and it doesn't really do too well. I mean, really, what did you expect from a bunch of old people? So while all this is going on, Nick, who's one of the only remaining cast members from the original movie, is having a little character arc of his own.
Why can't things go back to the way they used to be, son?
Because that shit got old.
Fun fact, Andy Milonakis was like 33 when this movie came out. So now that the early bird special didn't work, Dennis gets pretty stressed out and decides that he's gonna go over to Tata's. Calvin comes over and he says, "Sorry, this is a family establishment," and offers up a little secret on how to get the ladies.
Women like assholes.
That's what we call an incel. So Calvin says, you gotta check out this DVD that I watched. It made me get good with the ladies. Dennis immediately watches it. Like, immediately. Goes straight back to work and just watches it. And oh boy, is this DVD fucking something.
You know us men, we make more money, we reach higher management positions, and what do women have? Menstruation? Take it.
What the fuck? I don't even have fucking words for this. I have 0 words for what just came out of that man's mouth. And we're not even halfway through this movie. We still have a whole other half of this movie to get through, and it's even fucking worse. Everybody's just sitting around the bar trying to figure out what they're gonna do when the restaurant, quote, shuts down. And Dennis is just in his office living his best life. He builds up some self-confidence and he takes a walk over to Tata's, where Calvin tries to show him the ropes of how to try and get the ladies.
Oh, but I'm still like 150 to 250% sexier than both of those bitches.
Can you prove it?
This business is HR's worst fucking nightmare. Just remember, he couldn't pee in a public urinal, and you would think that these ladies would be creeped out and totally disgusted by this man. But nope. They apparently like it, which leads me into one of my biggest gripes about this movie is that I am sure whoever wrote this movie has never talked to another human being before, let alone a fucking woman.
They just try to get along with everyone, and yeah, okay, so maybe they got fake tits, but you know, it really helps them make extra tips.
So it's kind of like a business investment.
Dennis tries the trick that Calvin taught him on one of his servers, makes her cry, and then he goes back to his office where he gets a call from lame-ass boss reiterating that he needs a $9,000 day in order to get the promotion. But luckily a huge catering order comes in, and they end up making a pretty big dent in that budget that they need to make. And after that, it's dinner rush time, so now they're gonna have a really good opportunity to make that $9,000. Everybody's working their hardest and doing their parts. The cooks be cooking, the servers be serving, Dennis be getting in everybody's fucking way, and Naomi is trying to get Tata shut down as a business. All is right in the world. That is until... instead of being a rational human being and, you know, doing something else with it, she wipes it on the wall of the restaurant that she's trying to fucking save. And almost instantly, it comes back to bite them in the ass. Dennis is up on a balcony and he's daydreaming about, just fucking look at this.
You know what I like most about you, Dennis? Your money.
I hate this movie. I hate this movie. I hate this movie. I hate this fucking movie. There are no words that you could use to convince me that this movie was written by somebody over the age of fucking 12. There's no way. Because if this was written by an actual adult, then they've clearly never spent any time outside with other human beings at all. It must have been their first day on Earth when they wrote this movie. Cut back over to the dinner rush, and a fly is starting to make some trouble.
Wait, there's a fly in my soup.
Now that everybody thinks that Shenanigans is putting flies in everybody's soup, everybody's trying to switch over. And when they can't switch over their soups, everybody starts getting mad because they're starting to get backed up in the kitchen. Panic ensues, and Shenanigans is in fucking shambles right now. But they made it through, albeit a little shorter of the goal. And then in walks, hey, it's our homie Dean. Perfect chance to catch up with him since the last movie. Let's see what he's been up to ever since he's had that really strong character moment.
I got sort of like a little head injury. Then I became addicted to, have you heard of OxyContin?
What? How could you do this to the only fucking character that had an actual arc in the last fucking movie? How could you ruin that character for me? It wasn't enough that you wrote a movie predicated on all of the stereotypes. It wasn't enough that you wrote a movie that has conversations that don't feel real or natural. No. You had to write a movie that just took an entire shit on the first movie. And the first one wasn't even that good, but it was so much better than this one. I hate this fucking movie. Did I tell you that I had to watch this twice? Once to see if it was actually that bad, and then another one to take notes. And I had to edit it. So technically I had to watch it 3 fucking times. I never want to see this movie ever again in my life. I don't even really want to talk about this anymore, but I have to. I'm too proud to go back on my decision now. Thank fucking God, it's almost over. It's almost over. It's almost over. I just have to keep on telling myself it's almost fucking over. So Dean explains to Dennis that no, he didn't make the budget, so he's probably not going to get promoted. But at least there's a silver lining.
Whenever you get down about yourself, whenever you have moments of self-doubt, just look over here and say, could be worse.
Jesus fucking Christ, bro, that's harsh. So after that little pep talk, Dennis decides that he's gonna go address the crew. And he tells them that unfortunately we didn't make it, but fortunately I made money and, you know, I just put in the $1,800 so we don't have to close down the restaurant. Which is a total fucking lie because the restaurant wasn't gonna be closing to begin with. But surprise, surprise, they buy it and they say, oh my God, you're my hero. Do you wanna go out with us tonight? And because Dennis is so pathetic and because he's so desperate for any sort of human interaction, he says, yeah, I'm gonna go out with the employees. And when he gets there, he sits there for a while and he realizes the only way that he's gonna be able to get laid is if he fucks Naomi. He fucks Naomi, and that's how the movie ends. He doesn't learn his lesson. He doesn't learn what it's like to actually talk to a female. He doesn't learn like some bullshit lesson about love. No. He just fucks his employee And that's how it's supposed to end. Now you're probably thinking, wow, he skipped a lot of that movie. That's because I didn't fucking like it. Honestly, if you take all of the side plots out, then it changes literally nothing in the fucking movie. So why even have it in there? Now, I'm no screenplay writer, but I'm pretty sure a good rule of practice would be if it doesn't need to be in there, then it shouldn't be in there. And in the end, it all just ends up blurring together into one massive fever dream that you just can't wake up from. It's all boring, and I don't care enough to learn more about any subplot. But in the interest of fairness, I'll briefly go over it. This guy gets bullied by this guy because he's kind of a fucking twat. Agnew is racist, and I guess he realizes that he shouldn't be so racist. Amber finally talks to the dude that gets picked on and realizes that she really likes his accent, so she really wants him to fuck her. And Naomi is just drunk. Nick and T-Dog are friends again, and lame-ass boss is getting bullied by Dean. There we go, that's everybody's character arc. Leave me alone about it. Now, in the interest of fairness, I'll talk about what I did like with this movie. Let me tell you, it's not fucking much. There were one or two moments that made me kind of chuckle. Like when Dennis was trying his new moves on that server and he made her cry. It was a little funny because it was a little cringe, and I kind of like cringe humor. And the CGI fly was better than I would expect it to be. But that's about it for what I liked. Now, what I didn't like. Everything. The writing was fucking terrible. The dialogue itself feels incredibly fucking wooden, and it feels like, again, it was written by a fucking 12-year-old. The characters are all fucking awful. Especially Dennis, dude. He's so pathetic. It makes me feel bad for him, but not in a good way. Like, bro, what happened to you? You know what? If you really want to get laid that bad, go buy a fucking hooker. Agnew is fucking insufferable. And it sucks because the actor who plays him is actually a really good actor. You know, if you want some of his better work, go watch Shameless.
The Butt Buddies. Long may they slam and slap.
Calvin, who was kind of sort of likable in the first movie, is just a fucking douchebag now. And everybody else is just kind of there. They don't really serve a purpose for the plot. It doesn't really matter if they're there or not. It would still happen all the same either way. This didn't need to exist. Waiting didn't need a sequel. You know, this is like if you took Step Brothers and said, let's make Step Brothers 2. No, dude, you're not going to be able to do the same things that you did with the first movie this time. All in all, this movie is fucking terrible. I do not recommend it. I can see why it went straight to DVD. I give it a fucking 3 out of 10. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Let me know if I got anything wrong. I probably did. I probably skipped over some magical plot device that makes this even better. But until then, I'll be waiting, and I'm going to be doing this, you know, semi-regularly. I'm going to try to at least. This was a lot. This was a lot to do, and this was my first video, so, like, please don't be too harsh on me. Until then, this has been Love It or Hate It, and I bid you adieu. Bye, motherfuckers.